Pieces of wood. Looks like it's cracked a little bit. I don't know if I need that. That wood is broken. I don't know if that matters. Hopefully I won't need that. Maybe that was just protection. Well, that's some Mondo cardboard. You can make an airplane out of that. Look at that. I'm going to have to figure out where to get that. And this styrofoam is just coming out of the bottom. Alright, so there it is. It was in the box. Here in my office I have the dishwasher. Upon opening, let's see, I see some water. I don't know if you can see there's water residue inside the washer. So I'm going to assume that's from testing, because it really didn't look like it was out and back. In fact, I was sure to buy at the highest price so that it didn't go out and back, and it was new to me. If you notice, there is water on all of this. But you can see it's water. If that's for testing, I'm all for it. Alright, so looking further, it looks like instructions here. Shows you probably mostly how to hook it up to the faucet. Here's some hoses. These have not been opened, so that's reassuring that this has not been out and back. But I'm going to be using this dishwasher hose kit. I've read a little bit online about what it takes to hook this up, and I've come to the conclusion that this dishwasher hose kit and this 8-foot version of it is going to help me out a bunch. And then I bought this splitter, and this is going to take my supply line, and I'll be able to continue with what it was wanting to do initially, and then go ahead and just get a little elbow in there. It's a 3-way, but it allows the water to continue onto your faucet, and then also have some go to the dishwasher. And really, in retrospect, I should have got it on off here, like a shut off. But if I have any problems, I'll just shut it off right here. And this is the 3/8 compression, which is pretty standard in America, which is where I live. This is all 3/8 compression. It does come with this, which is basically 3/8 compression to garden hose. And you can do it in other ways, but this is nice because it's all set up and it's nice and tidy. And I think that's what I'm going to need actually to get this supplied. And this is actually mostly designed for using the faucet, where when you need to do dishes, you go, and I actually was raised by my parents, of course, but they had one that way. And you would just, when you wanted to do dishes, you would hook it up. But it was a bigger dishwasher, so we could do dishes maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And this I'll probably be using daily, or at least every other day, or maybe twice a day. So, and because of that, I just decided to go ahead and do a permanent hookup. And hopefully I'm not sorry. I don't think I will be, but you never know. So it says 200 kilowatt hours a year. I paid 12 cents. Estimated yearly energy cost $18. That's a steal. I say make them as wasteful as you need to for this size of a machine and for this type of a thing, you know. But the energy efficiency is welcomed as long as the performance is held up. So there's that. And I know most people would probably say, yeah, but what about your Prius? Actually, my Prius gets it's 0 to 60 in 10 seconds. So that's pretty comparable to a lot of other things. And I'm getting a ton of miles on it. But anyway, that's a whole different video. So now these videos are sensitive for the manufacturers, because if you say something that throws people off, and then they're involved with your opinion or something like that, you know. But I guess that's just the way it goes. This is going to be used a lot of times in an apartment. I live in a smaller home, like a house, and We really need a dishwasher. So that's 7 inches wide. That's 3.5 wide. And it stands like 4 inches tall. And it has these doors. I suppose a person could leave it shut and just drop them in there and it would hold them up. If you had multiple forks or spoons. Not sure how well that would work with knives, maybe with a butter knife, I don't know. But that's that. On the inside, looks like it has these doors. This one, there's like some numbers in here and a little lever. It's like a lever that goes back and forth. So I don't know if that's what cycle it comes out of. I guess I could read the instructions. That was going on there like this. And then this door looks like it has a button. And then there's a door. It has 15 and 25. So I have to see what all that's about. I'm thinking this is having to do with detergent. So it has that. Now that I have everything removed, it looks like it slides out pretty easily. Looking inside. Now these are a lot of times very similar to other brands. There's a few of these on the market. And they all seem to be the same pretty much on the inside. They're either extremely good knockoffs of each other, so to speak, you know, like copies, or they're the same chassis with a different control, because I noticed that the main difference is the control. And the rack is the same, but what's the same also is this guy right here. I don't know how you take that off. That's like a strainer. Looks like there's an arrow on it. I need to break it right here on YouTube. But then this is like a screen. So that's going to screen all the water. There we go. Whoa, look at that. So that's your screen. That's pretty nice. A lot nicer than my last one. But you will see that this is all pretty much the same on a lot of models. But the controller and the door are different. So there's a decent sized spray bar for a small machine like this. It looks like it has 4 holes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it has this outer hole that's more like a slot, and then it has this propulsion one that kind of sprays backward, which makes this propel forward, and that's also a slot. So these two right here are pretty neat. I think that'll spray off the sides. This one will go hit in here and probably bounce off, and so that's 6 per side, but 12 total. So all in total, the spray bar is 17 inches, just a hair over. 17 1/8 total. Then it does have this thing up here. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Looks like maybe a vent or something. I don't think this has a drying function, but it may. But I'll know more soon enough. So the tray is not too bad. This 19 inches wide. I don't know if you call that a tray, but it's 19 by 18. And then it has this upper portion right here. I think you can put cups up here if you want to, or just have it go straight up. I wonder if it shuts. Yeah, it still shuts. It looks like there's little pegs here that would hold something. You know, so you could probably get something to be hung right here. I think maybe utensils of some type. The door's a little bit flimsy feeling, not too bad, but it has a little bit of give. It's a little bit plasticky. If you press on one side, it has some give. You just gotta press it in the middle. So I'm not gonna turn it on right now because there's no water. it had no dents on it and no scratches, which is really nice. I did do that myself, though. I don't know if you can see that scratch. I did that. I put it where we're going to put it, and as I lifted it, I kind of scratched it. But other than that, there was not a scratch on it. There was this little bit of a ding right here, but this is an outward ding. So that got somehow, maybe the tray would do that. I don't know. But it's outward. Not sure what would have caused that. If that was during assembly or what. But I did pass on some pre-owned ones, honestly, because they had dents. And so when I see that dent, it's kind of, there's a little bit right here too. And it's the side that's going to face our living room. So it's a little bit unfortunate. I don't see how that would have happened. I don't think I did it as I was taking it out of the box. But it is what it is. These types of things with the stainless steel, they always tend to have some kind of dent on it. And I think maybe they just want to get it over with, so that the first person that dents it doesn't get yelled at. Kind of like that spray where they say, that's okay, that's okay. It's already dented. So there's the back. Looks like this is like paper. This is like that air core stuff. And then there's the power, and then we have the water inlet and the water outlet. So overall, the unit is 21 inches and 5/8. 21 and 5/8 here. It's about 21 on the depth because of the controller. It kind of sticks out a little bit. And the height is 17 1/4. It's probably 17.2 like they say, but it looks like 250. But there's another 16th off of it, so it's about 17.24 or something they say. But 17 1/4 inches for sure, and you'll be okay. So all of that, and I'm gonna go ahead and test it before I do anything else, because the last dishwasher I would have gave it a 5-star review if I hadn't run it for a month. So I'm gonna run it for a month and finish this video. So for today's operation, I'll be needing this compression splitter. You know, they give you this tape. This is like Teflon tape. I don't really think you need it because this is all about compression. So the Teflon tape you could use, but it's overkill. And in fact, it might make it harder to screw this, and so then it wouldn't seat in the same way. You wouldn't be able to feel it seat as well. So this is all compression. There's kind of like a flange right here. Maybe you could call that a flare almost. And then something goes in there and seals. So looking at this dishwasher kit, you can see there has a seal in there, and that would bottom out. So I don't think I'll be using the Teflon tape. It's actually kind of curious that they included that. I guess if you lose other things, that maybe it would take its place. So this is the one I believe will fit on the back of the machine. Hopefully there's no surprises there. So that will seal. This is independent, and this will seal. And this is a compression fitting. That has a brass fitting inside. So what I'll be doing is getting rid of this and just using that to that. So it's an 8-foot dishwasher hose kit, and then this is a 3/8 by 3/8 by 3/8 compression splitter. It's a T, not a splitter. Splitters are for cables. It's a T. And this was in there too. This looks like MIP or something along those lines to the 3/8 compression. I don't think I'll need these, but this was included in the kit. Now if I end up needing it, I'll need it, so it's good that it's here. I believe it's this one, but we'll see. Alright, so I got a cold on the right and I got a hot on the left. It really looks like there's already like a splitter right there. Maybe that's capped. I don't know. Honestly, I think I'm still going to put in my elbow. Okay, so there's the T now installed for the pressure side. And then for the drain line, I just installed it from the faucet adapter and then just cut it. Cut it right closely to the faucet adapter, and then that will allow it to just, I'll be able to use that hose and it'll allow it to just go ahead and drain into the sink from there. Okay, now we have the Danby 631 installed, and it has been working really well. I actually have a good 15 washes on it. You just turn it on, put your dishes in, hit this button. You either put a pot in there or some liquid soap, and then you can even put a little bit of liquid soap on there on the top, and then the pre-wash will have soap in it too. And then it does have this rinse aid setting. You can put rinse aid in here, and then you can tell it how much to use, so that's cool. The door is nice looking. That's why I bought this version. There's many other versions that are cheaper. You can get this in different color combinations with different doors, and they cost from as little as $270 to as high as $450 for this one, and have very similar features, and I would assume performance. Now I don't know for sure that it doesn't have a better pump down there, but if you look at many different models, you will see this. You will see this. This will be exactly the same. Everything will be the same. If you look inside, that will all be the same. And the door seems to be the difference. So I assume they all have pretty much the same kind of feel to the doors. This is a little bit, it wiggles a little bit, but if you hit it in the middle and don't think about it, it's pretty nice to have actually. I usually just put the stuff in there and press go. That's it. Once these are blinking, it's going to start. So we're not going to do a demo just yet. I can turn it off. I did want to talk about the shipping first. The shipping. What do I say? A lot of people have had a problem with these being dented. I've watched and looked at the Amazon reviews, and if you continue to watch them, you'll continue to see reviews show up where people are having dented products delivered. And for $278, some of those people are getting nice washers that are not dented. So when you spend the $450, because it goes with your other products in your kitchen, and you like this look, it gives it a little bit less of a boxy look because it's just squared off, which is excellent. But also you can have this a little bit of you know, some different dynamic look to it with this handle. So I did like this one. The other one I liked a lot was the Home Labs, where it had the control panel right here and one big handle. I did like that one, but the availability on it is very low right now. And some people that do have it, they want $600 for it. So it really comes down to, if you want your kitchen to look nice, you have to pick the products that you put in it. Otherwise it ends up looking a little bit hodgepodge. So these gray ones, they actually go in really nicely with stainless steel. If you have stainless steel anything, including just the sink, it looks nice with it. And I actually have a little bit of stainless steel. We'd probably go that direction in the long run. And when these cabinets get replaced, it will all be trying to have a certain look. You know, kitchens are real sensitive issues because of this smile that you can produce with a nice kitchen, and how everybody likes to make food in a nice kitchen. So that being said, for $450, I unboxed this unknowingly that it had dents in it, because I was doing a review in an area that has a lot of light, because I try to minimize shadows. It's basically a place where there isn't a shadow to do a review, And so some of these were kind of hiding. But every time I walk by now, I do notice this dent. As you can see, that dent. It kind of just says, hi, $450. And you just kind of go, yeah, let's try that again. So there's that one. You can see it's pretty substantial. And the way it messes with the light there, it kind of makes itself very evident from different angles. So like, especially like right there, it kind of screams at you, hey, remember me? And you didn't do anything about me. You received me in the mail and you let it go, you know? And that goes for everybody in the household is going to see it. Now, if that's my kids' dent, that's a dent of love. But this is in shipping. And here's another one. And it's not like every once in a while. It seems to be very prevalent with these. So I don't know if they're putting these on the bottom of the trucks. Maybe they look like a really sturdy base for a stack of packages when they're doing their shipping. I don't know. I actually like shipping carriers. I get along with them really well. So I kind of want to cover them a little bit in a way. I want to say, hey, you know, this doesn't happen too often. But the reviews say otherwise, that these are actually being dented quite often. Now, a person that gets a perfect dishwasher doesn't leave a review, and a person that gets one dented does. So I'm sure in some ways it can throw the ratio off a little bit and make it seem like it's worse than it is. But when I bought it, I thought, you know, there's a good chance I'll get a dented one. I'll spend $450, because Wayfair had these for $400, and I was thinking, you know, maybe it'll come in from Wayfair anyway, because there's a lot of that going on in the world, where one person's actually shipping them and a lot of different people are selling them. So, and usually Amazon is the one they're shipping from. So for that reason, I did go to Amazon. A lot of times I like to buy on eBay, because I sell on eBay. And I know what it's like to have shipping problems as well that are news to you when you're a seller. News to me, it looked good when it left, you know. But there's a lot of things that happen between leaving and arriving that are amazing. I mean, sometimes on airplanes, sometimes probably, I don't think by rail very often. I don't think that's very fast. But there's another one right here. And this is the first one I did notice. This one sticks out. I don't know if you can measure there. It's kind of rocks on it. But I believe this was the rack pushing outward. Like this is the side of the rack or something. But it has... But if this was a 5-year appliance that's going to last me 5 years, every day that I walk by and say, hey, you didn't return that, it's going to bug me. And it really comes down to the corner of the mouth of your loved one that's going to be using it with you. And if they're happier with this type of thing, that's cool. They should get it used or pre-owned or something like that. If it comes in the mail like that, I really feel that I had to return it. So I actually like this version. It's kind of like, I actually like this very model because it's the one we ordered and it's been working great. I can almost see keeping it just because it's a hassle to return, and once you've used it and it's done well in a lot of ways, you know, if your pump's working out for you, you really don't want to turn it down and say, well, go on back, and then you get another one that looks good, maybe the pump goes out. You just don't know what the future holds. But so long story short, I bought another one. I just had to know if these are all coming in dented. I had to know, are they not packaged correctly? Like, why are there so many with reports of dents? And I can see here on this one, I just received this from Wayfair, and it already has kind of like a bang. This is the bottom, and that's every bit of, you know, ½ an inch. And it does have this corner channel. This is like really hard pressed paper that ends up being almost like household trim, and it's kind of like an angle channel, and that supports it. There's foam beyond that, and then it goes to the product, and the foam's about 3/4 of an inch thick, and then it goes right into the product. It does have these bands. When you pick it up with these bands, it tends to squeeze it. So if you're really strong and you start going like this, you're just taking this and squeezing it into the product. And I mean, this is pretty thin gauge. This is really thin. I could just do a little punch test and it would totally break that. This here is my Kenmore microwave. It's probably a little bit dirty, but I mean, I've moved several times and that is not happening. Here's my toaster. I think that's plastic. You know, moving on down. This thing's a tank. This is actually a Wolfgang puck. It's a little dirty. We actually put plates and stuff up here, but that's actual stainless steel. And I think it's just a little bit heavier gauge. We have this stainless steel table. I just got this. It actually had a dent as well. But like this table, this was dented a little bit also when we received it. Just a little bit. Looks like that's dirty. That's from doing SodaStream. On a huge table like this, you might put up with one dent. It's nice because if you get more, you're like, hey, the first one's already done. We don't have to be mad at that person. That person's already dented it once. So the second dent's not such a big deal. But, you know, honestly, something like this with 4.5, I really would like to see it without dents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this box. And we're going to see all sides of it. And then I'm going to open it and see if it has dents. A little bit of a ding right here. That's not a ding, but like, just looks like something may have grazed that just a little bit right there. I don't know if you can see. Depends on the light. There's a small indentation on the cardboard, but it doesn't look like anything really. A little bit right there. Not much. Now that looks like the side that it rode on. Quite a bit of the time. It's dirty. So that's probably the side that was put to the floor about as much as that side. And then it does have that little bit of a indent right here. It seems like it was stopped by the foam though. So we're going to have to see. When it was dropped off, the carrier kind of dropped it from about 5 inches, which is, I'm sure, is pretty normal because of them using their back to do manual labor. So it's kind of hard to get it all the way to the bottom. They should have some kind of, I don't know, I don't even want to make suggestions, but that's their business. And any improvements are always welcome, of course. But just in case I need to reuse this package, I'm just going to take these off this way. Just in case I need to reuse them. Alright. I kind of feel like I bought a lottery ticket in a way. You're always a winner until you see that you're not. I actually let this out for a few hours just because I felt like, hey, I got one that doesn't have dents. And I didn't want to change that. Knowing the truth. I don't want to know. Keep it on the low. So one thing I noticed right off here is these are not broken. On my last unit, these were broken. If you're a real stickler and you want to be sure you get what you pay for with these, if you open it and you see these are broken, you might want to think about just returning it right off. Just don't even look at it. Just put it back, put the bands back on, slide the bands off, and send it back because it's very likely. I think this is to prevent the squeezing aspect. When someone picks it up, it squeezes the whole bundle. And if that's over here and you have thin gauge metal, I really don't even know what kind of metal that is. But these are just simply to absorb that. So that this is just recycled like melamine or I don't even know that it's recycled. It's like melamine, and it looks like they encapsulate it in plastic so you don't get any dust. I'm sure all of this has been thought about pretty rigorously. So this was here. Seemed like the band was about right here, and this was off. I mean, the band should have been there, but it might translate. Even though the band's over, this might hold this box out enough that it's enough. I'm sure at some point they got to get them moving. So then you have this piece. I like this. This is like what you would use in composite manufacturing with carbon fiber, and this would be kind of like aerosol or something like that. Be curious to see where I can find some of that. So here it is. Now to open it, you just pull up on the box. One thing about this is the boxes kind of fall to pieces. It's a bit like a crate and a box together, but it makes returning seem a little bit daunting, because once you take this off and you don't have a banding machine, you're thinking like, how the heck am I going to get this to go back? Because the whole thing just kind of falls apart. It's like taking apart something and a bunch of springs go flying, and you're like, oh man, well, throw it away and buy another, you know. So here we have this. It's not nothing. It's definitely something when it comes to the packaging. These are hard corners. These are hard points on the outside. But it's been laying on one side. Which side was that? Okay, so it was, this is the side it was laying on. So let's look at that side. I believe some of this was broken on my last one. Okay, so now it's just sitting on the base. Okay. Okay. Well, so far so good. This is the side it was on. It looks a little bit wet. I think they test them. So there we go. Yeah, my cabinet needs to be replaced. Trust me, that's next. We compensate with love. There we go. You know, if you had to, you could buy two, and then whichever parts are working you could use, and then you could... This one looks like it might be missing a screw, but I don't think it is. There's some light. Just like a faint, not a lot there. Nothing I would have ever really been concerned with. I mean, I realize I've made things before, done some composite molding, and I know what it's like to try to get something shiny and nice. This is open. I don't know why that's open. Probably maybe to let some of this water out. Let's check the front. Okay, I don't see anything down here. No abrasion. Interestingly, not any water inside. The last one had water in it. But if I had to say that was water or not, I'm not sure. This is not wet. The last one was wet. It was totally wet. Let's see, what's that back there? There's some water in there. Yeah, that's water. So there is some water in here, but not nearly as much as the last one. I'd say they probably test them. And this looks like it moved around. This one was, on the last one, it was taped in really nicely right here. This one's kind of jumbled around. But I'll take it jumbled around like that on the inside and no dents. any day of the week. All right, let's give this Danby a look-see. I've actually been using this now for months. We use it overnight almost every day, and sometimes another load in the morning. And these are staying. That's as clean as these are going to get. These, you know, when you melt cheese on them, but these are clean. That's as clean as these get, actually. Same with this one. You know, when it's yours, it's different than when it's somebody else's, but you know, they're all clean. This one, that says stain. Should probably get some new bowls, especially considering that we're doing these YouTube videos, but this is clean. Everything's clean. In my experience, everything comes up clean. Look at that. It works a lot like a regular dishwasher. We have all the silverware. It's all clean. Every once in a while you get one little thing, especially if it's overpacked full. I use these for kids' trays. Makes everything into a Lunchable. You know. This thing is well used. It's scraped up. I use it so much. It's just really handy for, like, you just put like sauces in it and then put like fried chicken, and you can just shake it around and then it becomes like better than KFC. So super handy. The Danby has a lot of different cycles, but we haven't really used too many of the different ones. We just use it on like the maximum one, like the first one. And you know, we do a little bit of pre-wash, like if there's big chunks of food on there, we don't put it in. So like this one is just go in there. These can go in there. These, you know, they're not perfectly clean, but they're not massively dirty either. So here's this. So here's something that we cooked with, and nothing really burnt on there. Here's some more silverware. But you can do this before bed or first thing in the morning. Now, if you already have another dishwasher, I wouldn't really recommend downgrading or downsizing necessarily, unless you really hate bending over. If you really hate bending over, then the countertop dishwasher might be for you. But like this one, I just put underneath the water to get these big pieces of food off of it, and that's it. These ones will fit toward the back. It seems like this is up a level in the front. So this one, these ones I have to kind of lay down a little bit and they'll work like that. And then you can just kind of set those in there. But you only get so much space. But you just do a quick load. And I keep a dish drainer over one of my sinks. And then that keeps it, you can put like utensils up here. This one might have been from the last run. Yeah, I think this is clean. So we'll just take that out. And you know, that's not exactly the neatest example. This blue plate, seems like some things compete with each other pretty hard. The blue plate or that saucepan. So pick one, I guess. You get used to it though. Like at first you might think one thing or another, but you get really good at it and fast at it, and you just put them in there. We're still going to put this blue plate in, something like that. Something's catching. What is it? It's the blue plate. Okay. I don't know how this fell back there, but there. Here we go. So it still moves now. So yeah, it's true that there's not as much space. It's a countertop dishwasher. We know that. But there's an example of what you can do with it. You could probably fit a few more things if you wanted to. But we'll call that good. But that's how fast you can clean your dishes. It can be about 2 minutes. You just put the stuff in here. Close it. This is just liquid. You can put a little bit more on top. Close it. Hit the button. They're done. Just like that, they're done. Alright, so it says end. All the dishes are done. Let's see what we get here with the Danby. Voila. They're still a little bit warm. It sloshes around for a little while. Makes sloshing noises. And then it will be quiet for about 20 minutes at the end. I think it's just drip drying, honestly. You can see that pan is totally clean, ready for the next meal. You can see the plate, nice and shiny. Now, depending on what type of detergent you use, you could have different results. I just use some cheap stuff on this one. I think I have some of those packets that they sell. I was using packets for a while with this and it worked fine. These weren't very dirty, but you can see it's easy regardless, because they need to be washed no matter what. And there's just a certain amount of washing that this will achieve for anything you put in there. You can see these were nice and dirty and they needed to be washed, and now they're washed. So, got a lot of silverware. A lot of times the screen does not need to be cleaned. So, in the spirit of testing it fully, we have this rice bowl. Looks like it's coming up. Wish I had something more burnt on. I try not to put too much food in it, but we'll just put this in like that. Put that in there like that. Now we deep fried some shrimp last night. This is our deep fry pan. We use this for all kinds of things. It stays a little bit seasoned in the middle, but this is what's nice about the Danby, is it will take a large plate like that, no problem. So that's going to take up most of the load. Could probably fit this in there. I have the strainer. It just really needs to be rinsed. A lot of times, half of the dishes really aren't that big of a deal. Something like that. So it's getting full kind of quick. We have a cup. I could probably put some more in there somewhere. I don't know if this bowl could go in there. There's that bowl right there. We don't need this one in there. Put that one right there. There we go. Sometimes move them around a little bit. So it is a compact dishwasher, so instead of doing one load every other day and the dishes get nasty, you can do it every day. So right after you eat, put them in there, let it run overnight. I've had this running, and originally I was worried about it leaking on the floor or something, but it totally trust it now. It's like very trusty to me. Like I would go to bed and not worry about it, because we've had it for several months and it hasn't given us any issue with overfilling or underfilling or anything like that. So I just put my pot in right here in the door, and one button press. What's it telling me? Okay. I had to press programs for some reason. There's several programs here. I always just use the first or second one. Usually it defaults to that one. I think that's the longest one. That's heavy, so we use that one. That way I know for sure I got the most cleaning possible, because we're not in a rush. So a lot of times this will just run, like I was saying, twice a day, maybe once at night, overnight, and then in the morning if there's any left over, you can do that before work. And then when you get back, everything's done. So it's super convenient. Anyway, we'll see what this load has for us. Okay, so here it is, running now for a few minutes. This is the sound you hear from it. That's the only sound it makes. If it's not doing that, it's doing nothing. And there's a spray wand in there. And it seems to move rather slowly. It's not going around really quick. It just kind of... But that's all you hear. And it can put you to sleep, so be wary of when you run it. I found that if we run it earlier, like 9 o'clock, sometimes it can make me a little drowsy. Especially right after dinner, if it's run right after dinner. But you hear some sound right here through this crack a little bit. A little bit on the sides and back, but it's not really loud. It's just really, it just makes a sloshing sound. And it depends on what you have in there. If you have certain pans, they will kind of ring like a cymbal as it goes by. So you might hear a little zing, and it just repeats over and over. So really not bad. Not very loud at all. It has this other mode where it turns on and off. It sloshes for a minute and then stops. It's like kind of a warm-up, cool-down thing. A lot of times before a cycle, a major cleaning cycle, it'll do this. But then the cleaning cycle is just to have the spray bar on the entire time. There we go. So it's draining now. You hear it. I can see it in the sink. It's like 8 or 10 cups of water. It's not a whole lot. Okay, so it's filling. Still filling. That's taking a while to fill. Okay, so back to sloshing. That gives you an idea of what you're going to hear. It's either the full-on spray, the partial spray on and off, or the drain and refill. Okay, moment of truth on this one. It looks like it has 3 more minutes left, but I don't think we need to wait, so I think it's just air drying right now. Let's see what we got. There's one clean cup. have a clean strainer. Let's see about this one. Here's an example of a pan. This is kind of seasoned in the middle. We do some frying, and I wouldn't want it any other way, honestly. Seasoned is fine. This is a non-stick pan, but it's one of those copper coat or something, whatever they call it. Anyway, it tends to be like this, whether we hand wash or anything. So this is the one that had rice in it. You can see it's totally clean. It was kind of chipping out of there anyway, but it's ready to go. Loading it and unloading it is super fast. I just keep a dish strainer over one of my sinks. I don't even use that side of the sink anymore. And then they drain. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the sink, but that's the way I've been doing it. This one's not too stained. I showed you some other stained bowls. This one's not stained too bad. But every once in a while you get a little piece of something on there. Like, I think this is looks like a piece of rice that got mixed around. So, but not too bad. They're clean other than that. I usually don't put rice in there. But there you have it. Seems to work. It's very convenient. Twice a day, maybe one at night, one in the morning, right after the dishes are used. Then they don't get really nasty. Some of the bigger ones, you have so many dishes that the first set of dishes is already dry and kind of gross in there, and then you run the dishwasher. This one, as soon as you're done using them, you put them in there, you turn it on, and just go on about your business, and maybe an hour later you have your dishes back. So it's been pretty handy. Alright, so it's working, it's on. We're gonna see exactly how this functions. Looks like the drain is on at the moment. I just have a piece of plexiglass over the front, and I've tricked it to think that the door is shut because I messed with the interlock. It's filling. This is going to work. So it'll be nice to see, get a visual on how this works. Pretty mean spray, not too bad. Now, a lot of times you may think, well, it's only spraying from the bottom, but you got to think it's going to hit the top and then come down from there. You can see it's just raining from the top. And that will help with the dishes. Cool. Good visual. So here's one more final example. This is after we've gotten really good at packing this thing. This is all that you can fit in there. It's pretty full. Looking pretty good. Like I was saying earlier in the video, the screen really doesn't need to be cleaned very much. Every once in a while you'll see just like a little something right here, and you can almost just usually pick it off. The screen we really haven't had to clean. I might just take it out and clean it just because I'm looking at it. But the one thing we did have happen was this spray bar would get clogged and it would stop. Either something is hanging down and it stops the spray bar and we don't realize it, and or there's something stuck inside the spray bar, like the rice that I had just had in another part of the video. The rice will actually get stuck. If it gets through this somehow, it'll get stuck on the inside of this spray bar and clog it. And then if too many of them have clogs, then it doesn't spray right and it doesn't spin very fast or at all. So what they made it to where you can just pull this right off. You can pull that off, and however you end up cleaning it is up to you. That's a whole different video, but you can clean it, and once you get it clean, and I've only had to do that one time so far. We've had it to where that was clogged. I cleaned it up and it's fine. Those are the only problems I've had, is this spray bar either getting hung up or it being clogged. But other than that, there's been no overfills, no underfills. I haven't had my floors ruined, and I trust it. And the only other thing I can say about this, there's only one thing I don't like, honestly. Only one thing. And that is the sound of it, that beeping sound. And it's fine when we're using it during the day, but if you set this to start at night, or if you set it as you go to bed, so you're going to bed, you're starting to fall asleep, and then it finishes, and it goes beep, 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 and that will wake you up. Or at least it wakes me up. Now it depends on the person, if you're a heavy sleeper, but if you set it and go to bed, we can't do that. And that was one of the big features of having it, was that right before bed, 20 minutes before bed, you're getting ready, you're not brushing your teeth, all those personal things you do, but maybe you just set this up before bed, and then you're laying down to sleep. It depends on how big your house is. Now, if your house is 5,000 square feet, and you can get over 3 to 5 rooms away from your countertop dishwasher, then that might not be a problem for you. But I'm actually like 35 feet away from it, and I can hear it. And it goes beep, 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 beep when it finishes. So if they were to redesign this at any point in time, I would do something different than that beep, or have the ability to turn it off, because it's piezo cheap. I mean, but it was only $400 and some, and it does a lot. So I really can't complain. But that actually makes us not use it at certain times of the day, and it makes us not run it. We make sure to run it before we go to bed, because it'll start beeping and it'll wake me up. So that's something I do not like about it. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. This has been a review of the Danby DDW631SDB countertop dishwasher with 6 place settings capacity. You can buy it on Amazon like I did, and you can also buy it on Wayfair, which is what I eventually did, and got a very nice one with no dents, pristine condition, and this has been working excellent. It's hard plumbed in, and that's helped me to not have to worry about it. I go to bed, it runs, it turns off, it hasn't leaked, it hasn't overflowed. It's actually been about 5 months since I first bought this, and I didn't want to put out a review until I knew for sure that it wasn't going to flood the kitchen, and so far it has not had a single issue. It's been very reliable. We like it a lot. I would recommend it. It's way better than some of the others on the market, and similar to some of the others. There are some that are a little bit taller that have a top spray bar. This one sprays from the bottom to the top and drips off the top, so I think that's good enough. I don't have room for the taller one anyway. The one with the spray bar is like 19 inches tall, but kind of similar in some ways. But there are many that are similar to this one, but I really like the Danby style. It just keeps it from looking like a straight cube. It has this bowed front, and it gives it a more modern look, and it works excellent. And you've seen it. But always remember, you can shop at my eBay store, GB Hatchery. I sell a lot of used items there, used clothing, shoes, skates, household items, things that you might use. And you'd like a nice deal on printers, household printers. So I have a few things there. Always remember, you can shop at my eBay store, GB Hatchery. Other than that, I hope you're safe and healthy, and I will see you in the next video.